Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the channel. Live on Saturday night, it's Bose 831 Gaming. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. This is Bose 831 Gaming live on Farming Simulator 22 on the ELM Creek farm. And just if you're just tuning in, we're picking up from where we left off last week. I did some activities as far as the maintenance of my farm animals and the horse riding off camera. Alright, and we're picking up, like I was saying before, the battery issue got me a little bit distracted. We're picking up from where we left off. I did the maintenance on my animals, rode my horses, did everything else I could do for the previous day, and I advanced the day and we went from day 2 in June to day 1 in July. And guess what? In advancing the day, it's harvest time. So next on the agenda, we'll be harvesting all of my crops. So we're gonna go ahead and lease a harvester and or whatever harvesting equipment we need to get the job done. And so let's get started. First thing we want to do is go to the shop menu and let's go into harvesters. And let's take a look at what we have. I have a few mods installed, but not a super large, not everything that's available on console. And since I'm playing on Xbox, I do, as far as like mods that can be installed, you do on console, you do have slot counts and you do have installed mod space limits. And as you can see at the top of the screen, on Xbox, we're limited to 4,400 slots. And we also have less storage space. The storage space on console is not consistent between the two major console platforms, PlayStation and Xbox. For whatever reason, Giants blames it on Microsoft. Xbox players do not have as much available space for installed mods as PlayStation players. It's a sticking point for me, and I'm very dissatisfied with Giants on this concern because there's no logical reason why Xbox should not have. In fact, both console platforms should be almost, pretty consistent on what their limitations are. And especially when you take into consideration next gen consoles, because I'm on the Xbox Series X, and there's no reason for a lot of the game limitations on the Series X. While it's not the PC, it still should not be, limited in this regard. But I'm going to get off my soapbox now, and we're going to go back to it. So let's take a look at our modded harvesters first, because I think that's where I'm going to get my best bang for my buck per se. But let's make sure. See, because I also got to keep in mind not just the harvester capacity, but the harvester prices, because I don't need to overspend right now. because that will cut into my profits. So, how much does that hold? 14.5. New Holland, John Deere, all the way up to 27. But it's been a while since I harvested, so I'm not quite sure what it will be the ideal capacity of harvester that I need. Really liking the pricing on these case harvesters, though. That is okay until we get on this side. 670. Yipes. All right. On the axial flow. We don't really need anything too crazy for this job, though. In fact, let's try this. Let's go with this Case IH Axial Flow US Series mod, because it can get all the way up to 12,219. Ben, let's do the extension. Is that the one that gives us the 12,000 capacity? And that gives us the 10. And that's with the XL extension. We can get all the way up to the 12,219. I like the Michelin tires. We'll do wheel setup. We'll do standard. That's no big deal. Logo. Let's get the one with the logos. What does the side protectors do? What do they look like? I don't even see where they're picking up. Where is that making a change at? Okay. Engine setup. Do we really need more horsepower? I don't believe we do. We'll just go with the standard. Standard auger. Main color. What are my options as far as the main color goes? I can have it black or the case red. For that piece, let's do black. For the design color, yeah, let's drop it off with a little black. We're not too worried about the license plate. Now let's go ahead and lease this case at Axial Flow 4WD. And next up, we need a header that fits the case. And so we want to go look at the headers in the shop. And I forgot I got the 2 height control for headers mod installed, so I probably should have used the in-game harvester. But it's okay. We can play kind of realistic tonight. So I gotta find the header that goes with that case. So let's see here. I'm not exactly sure what is the correct header for that mod. Or maybe I will use one of the modded ones. This is 8.5 meters. And we'll just have to kind of... Okay, what is the difference between the headers? I'm not entirely sure. But I want to try, if I can, to get a Draper header, because the Draper headers have the header trailer built into the header, so you don't have to also worry about having to grab a header trailer as well. But a 13-meter header may be a bit of overkill for the job that we're trying to get done today, because I don't have any fields that are that crazy big. The smaller draper is 12.1 meters. Even that's overkill for what I'm doing today. Really, all we need is something like the Terraflex 41 feet, 12 meters. It's really, that's too big as well. Let's see. Let's see here. Can't quite make up my mind, so we're gonna go with the case 30, 20, 25 feet, I think. Okay, let's lease that one. Yeah, header trailer. And so we need a 25 feet trailer. And none of these say exactly how long it is, so I'm kind of at a loss as to what would be the correct trailer for the header. Alrighty. Gotta make it like rocket science, I guess. 1.7 ton. Hopefully this will work, which I'm really just playing it by ear now. Alright, so let's hop on over to the shop and hope we got the right one. And hopefully all of this will work out right and we won't look crazy when we go out into the field to try to harvest. But we're about to find out. Alright. First of all, let's see if we can get this set up on the trailer. And if all pieces of equipment will cooperate, number one. So circle back around. Alright. That does not look like a great fit, but we're going to try to see if we can get this to go. Traffic wants to run out in front of us and get in the way. That's interesting as well. Alright, so we're headed back to the farm and we're going to get started on our harvesting. And the first field we want to try to harvest is our canola field, but that's on the main farm. So that's our first stop. And while we're headed there, just want to kind of talk about some of the mods that came out this week. For at least in my humble opinion, there was not anything super notable that dropped. So I really don't have a whole lot to say about some of the mods that did come out this week. But as always, you can go to the Farming Simulator mod hub and check out what's available. And see if there's anything that you were really super interested in that came out over the last week. But in my opinion, there was nothing super notable, so I don't really have any mod that I'm ready to single out tonight. Alright, we're here at the farm, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop the, well, actually let's do it here so that the header trailer will not be in the way when the harvester gets to this part of the field and needs to turn around or something. Alright, so we're dropping the header trailer off. And get reattached. Alright, and let's get the header in position, the harvester and header in position. Alright, and we're getting the setup ready so we can go ahead and start harvesting, but before we do that, we need to unfold the harvester. And then we want to move over, turn on harvester, lower header. Alright, let's go. And I have the modded header that's part of the 2 height for control harvester mod. So as you can see, I can harvest at the max speed of the harvester, which is about 17 miles an hour. Is this realistic? No. But is it a time saver? Yes. So if you don't have that mod downloaded, it's definitely a mod that you might want to consider downloading, especially if you're on a map with larger fields, or you just, are play the game or in a crunch for time. But if you're an ultra realism player, this mod may not be for you. As you can see, we're going to go ahead and get this canola field harvested, so we can move on to the next stages that we need to do as far as our farm work is concerned. Alright. Make another pass here. And tonight it's going to be pretty much just all harvesting. Alright, yeah, I did a great job there of staying in a straight line, so I gotta go back and grab this little spot patch right here that I missed. And as I'm doing this harvesting, I'm kind of thinking ahead at the other activities that I need to be doing. But we still have grape and sugarcane crops that will eventually need to be harvested. We almost have this field harvested. We need to make at least one more pass, maybe 1.5. And it does not look like we will fill this harvester to its maximum fill capacity before we need to unload. Okay, yeah, I want to make at least one more pass. And then we'll be done. This is a beautiful, beautiful mod. I really like the look of it. And my 2 favorite brands are the John Deere Green and Case IH red. So I really like the look of this. And this is the case. This is the model is the 2388. This is great detail on this mod. I have to look up in a second so I can see who was the modder for this harvester. Pull up the mod hub in a second. Alright. In the normal circumstances, we will wheel a truck or a trailer around so we can kind of dump the crop that we just harvested into modded into a trailer. And this just brings up a point that I'm going to have to address here because I still have the standard grain silos on this farm and not any modded silos. So certain crops I cannot store because I don't have grains that can store other types of crops outside of the standard grain crops in the game. So I'm going to have to address that issue here as well. So we either have to drop down some new silos or drop down some silo extensions, but that's something I'm going to have to take into consideration right now. That I did not even think about before. Because I don't even have space at the moment for placing down any type of silo extension without removing one of the other silos I have that are here in place already. So, in fact, let's go take a look at the silos and see what some of my options are. And one of the things that I don't like is when you're in the menu does not tell you any information about what types of crops may be stored in a certain silo. So this is going to be interesting. $50,000. That's a liquid silo. Okay, that's a multi-product silo that holds 1 million. Yeah, I really wish they had incorporated more information in the silos screens in this menu, because it can be tricky trying to figure out what's what. Alright, so I'm probably gonna have to put another farm silo over in my industrial area, something to that effect. Yes, it looks like I'm going to have to go that route, because I don't want to mess with my main silo set up on the main farm. So I got to see how we can configure this. What I can do, looks like what might be the most prudent course of action, is to put another silo right about here. You know. All right. Yeah. And then let's hop over here and see what we have. This is may just be one of those trial and error things until we get it right. Let's go. All right. So I can't All right. Can't visit the farm silo, but we can visit the lime crusher. So. What types of crops does this? Let's do it with the TLX. So what I'm trying to do now is just check to see what types of crops the silo will hold. But you got to bring a trailer or some type of loading device or unloading device to the silos to see that. All right, here it goes. And I got select. The menu comes up and I select start filling, and it'll show you the types of crops that it can hold. Okay, and this looks like a multi-fruit. And right, and it looks like it will hold everything that's in the game. And that's what we're looking for right now. And I really didn't want to kind of change the look of the base game silos that came with the farm, but I had to have the means to store other crops than just standard grain crops. Now let me go. I don't know if there were any multi-fruit silos in the base game. That's something I'm gonna have to kind of check out and experiment with off when I'm not in a live stream, because I'm not even sure what any of these silos do. But for tonight, this is what we're doing. But I'm gonna have to do some more research on that, and I'm gonna have to come back to this issue. If I can find some base games style silos, because even though I have a lot of mods, I still want to do things in at least a semi-realistic way and use. And definitely, I do have a lot of mods, but some scenarios I would like to not have to lean on mods all the time, even though it's not a bad thing, because mods are pretty much a primary element of the game. Anyway, I digress. Alright, so going back to the menu, we have harvested fields 45 and 46. So we're done there. Excuse me. So next up, fields that are ready to go is we need to just fields 42 and 40. So, we put our header back on the header trailer and move over to Those 831 Gaming back on live on Saturday night. I don't know what's going on tonight. For whatever reason, my stream dropped connection and I was not notified of any issue. and it was kind of going live for about the first 30 or 45 minutes, and then for whatever reason it dropped the connection or dropped the stream. Not entirely sure why, but I'm back, and I hope we didn't miss too much, but it looks like we did miss the vast majority of me harvesting field 40, but we pretty much got most of field 40 done, which is my oat field, and I'm just touching up the areas of the field where my worker missed. We also grabbed my baler, and we're creating straw bales, and so that's next on the agenda in this particular field. So pipe out. And finish unloading the crop that we have harvested. And next field that we need to look at is field 42, which is our wheat field. So let's put our header back on the header trailer and move over to that field. Alright, so we're going to move over to field 42 and then harvest that field. And then from there we'll just go ahead and perform our regular routine farm maintenance activities. But since we're still playing with precision farming, I still need to make sure that I do all of the things that we need to do to prepare for our next sowing. So we definitely want to run the mulcher over each of our harvested fields so we can get that little 5% bonus or whatever it is. I believe it is 5%. Alright, so let's detach that trailer. Okay, and while we got the worker doing that, we're going to move our truck with the grain over to our farm and dump all of our harvested oat over in our farm silo. Okay, dump our oat here. Alright. And then we'll bring our farm truck back over to the wheat side and be ready for when our harvester is full of wheat and needs to be dumped. gonna go ahead and get it in position now. Oh my. The harvester and the worker have already had a fail condition. In fact, he's driven himself right into a position that I might not be able to easily get him out of. Great stuff. Alright. Alright. Let's see if we can back out of here. So, I'm gonna need to create a headland here. The headland is basically a road at the top or the bottom of a field so that the worker will have enough room to turn around or be able to navigate. And so let's see. Try to give this worker some space where they can have room to work without doing silly things like what he did running into the bridge. Uh-oh, gonna get stuck on the pile. You can hire the AI worker, and we're good to go. Alright, so while that worker is going, we're gonna move over to this tractor and keep on making us some bales. And hopefully we won't have the stream drop or any weird activity again. But I don't know, because I really don't know what caused the stream to drop in the first place. And had I not double checked, I would not have been aware that the live stream had dropped. Because as I'm on the live, I'm watching the live on another device, so that if any chats come up, I could be able to view the chats in real time, in theory. What I think what I need to do, just to be safe at all times, is just also, whenever I do a live, also have it up on either my phone or my tablet. And that way I can react a little more quickly when I'm having weird issues like this, or the random audio issues that I continue to have. But this is also part of the growing pains that I'm going to have as I continue to get more and more comfortable with doing lives. And some things you can only get better at through repetition and repeating the process until you get your style perfected. And that's what I'm working on now. I'm trying to get into my groove on what it is I want to do and how I want to do it. Because right now, my thing is still doing the Farming Simulator lives, but I also play a few other games and spend a great amount of time playing those games. The way I kind of play as a gamer, I kind of go on what I like to call gaming binges, where I have select one or two games that I play like a madman for a period of time, and then I put them down and move to something else. So I probably need to incorporate that into my live, since that is how I play normally anyway. And right now my games are, for the most part, this game, Farming Simulator 22, and I just started playing NBA 2K22. It was free. It was a game that was featured on one of the Xbox free play weekends just a couple of weekends ago, and it was also on sale that same weekend. And that's what all I was waiting for, was a really sweet price point to get in and purchase NBA 2K22. I had kind of been reading some of the posts online, and it's kind of getting that way now, where 2K22 is kind of getting like the Madden game, in that the game only offers really incremental improvements every year, and that a lot of times the changes between years on the games actually kind of are a little bit of a detriment to the games, but they're still good games overall. So it's the same issue with the Madden series, although both games a lot of games are starting getting into this whole, especially sports games, are getting into this whole card thing format, at least, or which is really like the Madden Ultimate Team, and it's basically virtual gambling. But I'm not that heavy into that aspect of the game, but that's what these companies push, because they can get influence people to spend more real money on virtual things. And this new generation is being conditioned to get more and more comfortable with these companies doing these things to them. But for a lot of us old schoolers, we're not into all of that and spending a lot of real money for virtual things, a virtual product. But but one of the things with 2K is, like, in order to you have to build especially if you're playing in my player mode, you have to build your my player up, and it can be a grind, and every year they seem to make that grind a little more harder and more time consuming, to kind of influence you to spend money on their virtual currency and other products that they sell. I'm gonna get off my soapbox about that, because I'm already kind of falling into a tangent. But long story short is, what I will probably like to do is incorporate, of course, Farming Simulator 22, because this is the game that I spent the most time on, but also incorporate some of the other games that I play into my live streams. But again, as I always say, we're only going to get better with time. And for the people that are watching and tuning in, I appreciate your feedback. And if there are some games you want me to feature, I definitely can look into that, depending on what the game is, and if it's something that's in my library or something that I might need to pick up, but also something that I like to play. You can look at my Xbox profile and my achievement history and kind of see that as well. If you're on the Xbox, you're welcome to. If you want to add me as a friend, also Bose831 on the Xbox Live, always welcome to do so. Send me an invite. And for your PlayStation players and PC players, my apologies, you can't get at me, but don't quote me, I think you can also get at me if you download the Xbox app on your phone. You can at least chat me up, or on PC you could download that Xbox app for Windows, I think it is, the Windows gaming app or something to that effect. But it's an Xbox app on the PC, and you can get at me that way or send me messages that way. And I also have my my social media for my gaming activities. That's Bose831 Gaming on Twitter, Bose831 Gaming on Twitch, Bose831 Gaming on Instagram, Bose831 Gaming on Facebook. Although I'm not on Facebook that often, but I do have a presence there as well. Okay, and I totally forgot while I'm sitting here talking and doing this whole baling bit. I bet you my wheat worker has probably stopped and charging me while he sits there waiting on me to unload. Yes. Let's dismiss the worker. Get him turned around just a bit. Keep that pipe out. Oop. And bring up my TLX. This worker just loves missing crop. So I'm definitely going to have to come behind him. Okay, Kimasabi, why don't you want to unload? Has to be on, okay. Alright. So get this load done and get the harvester back lined up, and then I'll turn that worker back on. And again, my apologies for the live dropping earlier. Still kind of got me perplexed as to what caused that to happen. I'm so glad that I did double check to make sure the stream was still up. Alright, so we can turn the work back on again. Here we go. Go. And we got a couple more rows and then we'll be all done here. And we need to come back around the bale trailer, pick up the bales, and then store the bales in our in our silos, our barns that we have for the hay. And again, I'm sorry, I keep losing my train of thought tonight on different little things here in mid-conversation. That's not normally my deal, but I don't know what's going on. what's going on with me tonight. Alright, so we can lift the pickup and turn this baler off. Fold her up. Alright, let's check on our harvester guy. He's chugging along at a high rate of speed and about to be full again. It's great stuff, great stuff. Still leaving patches all over the place, but that's fine. That's normal. It's part of the whole farming simulator thing. The little AI workers, sometimes the I in artificial intelligence is not always that great. It also depends on the shape of the field. Really anything outside of the square will give workers trouble sometimes. The next thing I want to do is probably lease a trailer. So we're looking at trailers now, or in this case, bale loader trailer. And we don't need anything to use, so we're gonna go ahead and lease this. Mod I have is PGRAT85. And that holds a max of 28 bales. So, and we're going to turn on auto loading. Go ahead and lease that by that guy. Now I'm going to move my baler over to the other field here that I'm harvesting, so we can have it in position to go ahead and go to work. Yep. Looks like the harvester's full again, so let me send the truck over here. And this time he landed in a position where the pipe is out and I can get to the pipe without running over and destroying any problem. Okay, good stuff. We now emptied the wheat from the harvester and put it into the TLX dump truck trailer. And our worker's happy and moving along again. When In the normal gameplay, one of the things you want to do is right after you harvest a field is to mulch it, but it also will depend on what crop you're doing. But for the grain crops, that this definitely applies. Okay, so let's get this Kverlin baler lined up so we can go ahead and do some, some baling. And here we go on our first pass. And the fast baler allows you to drive along and it will spit the bales out automatically without you having to stop. Alright, and since the worker is insistent on leaving big piles of crop in this other farmer's field across from my field, I'm going to have to do something. I want all of my grain, and he's leaving on the other side over there. Like I mentioned, he just cut off, so let me just go ahead and hop in and deal with that first. Okay, and then now we can make another pass. Okay, come back this way. And what we're doing here is we want to make sure we're getting all of the patches that the worker missed. So that's what we're going back and touching all those areas up now. Make sure we got everything that we are able to harvest at this time. And I think that covers. No, there's a patch right there. Missed. Wrong button. Well, we want to get every last drop. Now we can turn the harvester off. Address this other situation first. Since I don't own that field, what I'm going to do to address that situation is we're going to buy field 39 temporarily. And come back around with my fast build and get to work. Probably to be proper, I may just temporarily turn off crop destruction. Where am I at? Wrong menu. Nope, still wrong menu. So that way it won't have this field looking too crazy. I should have thought about that before I did that over there too. But it's all good. Since crop doesn't automatically decay, if I don't get that cleaned up now, no, there's more patches. If I don't get that cleaned up now, it'll be there from here to eternity. Okay, and once we get down to this other end of the field and complete this pass, I'm gonna have to hop back in the harvester and really still get to touch up those areas that we missed, or that the worker missed. So let's hop back over to the harvester. Let's get to chopping. harvester and we really touched up the areas with missing some crop. Go ahead and put our wheat into the hopper bin. drop of it is complete. So we can move this harvester right away. It will no longer be needed. Oh, and I did forget to empty the other little remaining contents before I moved over to the present location. No problem. Excuse me. No problem in coming to him. Okay, same issue as I gotta be in the harvester for it to unload, so let's unload the last 6,000 liters of wheat. Bring the pipe back in. And let's go back to this guy here because apparently there's some areas that he missed too in trying to gather up the material that was off the field and into the road and into the field that's not owned by me but adjacent to my fields that I do own. Alright, so we'll load it, turn it on. Alright, let's see if we can get all this material that's kind of... Alright, we're about to... And there's still a spot of rain that's not this. That's crazy. I'm just gonna leave that there. Okay, and I was going in a straight line until I started not. My apologies, true believers. The energy level is very low today. Personal note, I had a death in the family in recent weeks, and when I say a family member, today was the day for so I've been doing a lot of things since early this morning. And just kind of tuckered out now, and I guess the lack of a nap or something today is kind of getting to it a bit. Trying to grab all of this straw material that the harvester is dropping away. And just turn them into straw bales. And then we'll come back in and pick them up, store them in one of our barns, sheds, whatever you like to call them. As you can see, the fast baler really kicks out bales at a very good rate. And that's going to help us to move things on as quickly as possible. Alright, team, we're coming up on the tail end of the stream, so I'm going to go ahead and finish creating these straw bales, and then I'm going to come back behind, come through the field again, just with all the load trailer, pick up these straw bales, and then bring them over to my farm. Alright, and as we approach the end of the stream, I just want to say I thank everyone for tuning in and watching. And close with saying the thing that I always say: if you're not having fun doing what you do, then what are you doing? Say peace and thank you for tuning in and continuing to support me. Bose 831 on all major social media platforms.